Who was Shaun Attwood in high school?
Decades before bumping heads with Sammy the Bull, as a teenager in this country, I didn't grow up with much money. But when I chose economics in my high school, only 6 of us chose it. The teacher saw I had an aptitude for it. He started giving me classes on my own, explaining the Financial Times, all the numbers, how the stock market works. Then when I was 16, I went to my dad for money to invest. He told me to bugger off. I hit my nan up and she gave me £50, like just under $100. And I doubled it first day of dealings on British Telecom shares. So I was hooked.
At 16?
At 16,
wow.
Telling all my mates in my little town, I'm gonna go to America, make $1 million, fly all you guys over. That was my dream. Yeah.
So from there on, so at what point did you make it to the States?
Okay, so I went off to college, did A-levels, did business studies at uni, and then headed out to Arizona because I used to visit my aunts there as a kid, and it really dazzled me, the lifestyle in Arizona.
Arizona dazzled you, the lifestyle in Arizona?
I'm coming from a little chemical manufacturing town in the Northwest.
That makes sense.
Planes coming in, you see the swimming pools in the backyards.
Well, yeah, I get it. By the way, let me ask you, personality-wise, high school, were you the good grade? Were you the good kid? Were you the popular kid? Did you date the hottest girl? Were you the athlete?
No, I was getting beat up by the rugby players. I was one of the last to grow in size. I had anxiety. I almost got beat to death by some drunks, and that compounded my anxiety. So when I went out to clubs and stuff, I wouldn't dance. I was too self-conscious. I had this shyness. When the rave scene began, I took ecstasy, wouldn't stop dancing all night long, wouldn't stop making friends with strangers. And that became my crutch. For over 10 years, I'm doing drugs. People seeing this wild and crazy party animal. But I was self-medicating for PTSD from almost getting beat to death by these drunks.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And how'd you get introduced to it the first time? Was it just you went to a club?
Yeah, what happened was,
in
this country, in the 1980s, to get in a club, you had to dress in a suit and tie, and it was very snotty, like snooty. They wouldn't let you in the bouncers if you weren't dressed right. The kids were sick of it. They started breaking into warehouses, breaking into airplane hangars, wearing all this coloured clothing, and taking ecstasy and just dancing all night long at these illegal parties. So it was like a revolution in music.
It was suits back in the days going to nightclubs.
Yeah, in the 80s. And the kids were sick of, you had to line up and the bouncers would look at you, and if you're not dressed right, you're not getting in. So we were like, F that, we're just going to start doing our own thing, breaking into warehouses, airplane hangars, wearing all these psychedelic colours, baggy jeans, British night sneakers.
British night sneakers, oh my gosh, I remember those. So this is what year, by the way? What year would you say this is? Late 80s?
This is late 80s, early 90s, because I went to Arizona in 91.
What happens when you go to Arizona? I know you got into the stock market yourself. How did that happen for you?
So I arrived in Arizona as an illegal alien. Got no work visa.
Illegal alien.
Yep.
Okay.
Just got my student credit cards. So I'm now in a race against running out of money on my student credit cards to make money. Join a brokerage and quickly learn it's commission only. They tell me I've got to do these classes for months to get my Series 7. I said, I haven't got time to do the classes for the Series 7. Put me in for it right now. And then they said, well, all right, we'll take a chance on you. It was like, the guy running it was like a mafia kind of guy with his mannerisms. I think they were hooked into the mafia, this penny stock outfit it was that I just got that's how I got my foot in the door.
Penny stock outfit,
yeah, like
similar
Wolf
to
of Wall
Jordan
Street.
Belfort. Yeah,
exactly
he was also penny stock.
Smile and dial, mirrors on your quad. You got to be pacing with a 25-foot curly cord because smiling brokers make more sales. You're only as big as your numbers are on the board for the month. Exactly like Wolf of Wall Street.
And that's the world you came out of.
It was a baptism of fire. I quickly realized what they were doing. So talking about power moves, me and another rookie broker, we realized these guys were just putting people in chop stocks. We got some newspaper articles about them, photocopied the entire accounts from the entire brokerage. We were sneaking at night, photocopying all the accounts. We jumped ship to a more stable outfit and took all of these accounts with us.
And so what happened then?
Well, they were threatening to, the guy, the boss, the threats were getting issued, and we went out and bought guns. Yeah, they were threatening to blow up my partner's car, some of these guys, yeah.
I mean, it's a competitive world if you're doing that. So late at night, you're getting all the files, the clients, and you're calling them with another place.
Yeah.
But you're still doing penny stocks.
No, when we moved, we saw what those guys were doing. So then we were like actually trying to make our clients money by putting them into stocks like Motorola, we had the brick cell phone and stuff like that, Intel.
So how well did you do?
People wanted to do high-risk investments, taking these clients over from the penny stock world. So what I looked at was America West Airlines junk bonds. They were trading 10 cents on the dollar, and they went back up to par. Yeah, so I did really well on them. Didn't sell them at par, but sold them at 100% return. Motorola was another good one. Because of the brick cell phone, they were doing great as well. They were going up consistently. And to the point where my commissions, I was grossing $500,000 a year in commission 5 years in. I was the top guy in the office. I had enough money to retire from it, but I was starting to get back into the party scene. And I was thinking, do I want to go in the rat race and get up at 5 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning sales meeting, or just make money from the party scene? And that excitement and greed took over.
First of all, which BD were you part of? What was a broker dealer?
There was various ones over the years,
Okay.
and the last one was Joseph Charles. It was clearing through Bear Stearns.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you ever with a Morgan, Merrill? Were you ever with any of the...
Merrill offered me $100,000 to move over to them, and because they wouldn't let me sell short shares, and they wanted me to buy their proprietary companies, I refused.
How did you get into the world where you said, what if I start selling? Was that accidental? Was it intentional? How did that take place?
The rave scene has such a big impact on me in this country. One of the goals I set was, when I make $1 million in America, I'm going to transfer that scene over to the Sonoran Desert. And in the beginning, I am just buying pills because I've got so much money and showing off and giving them away to my friends. This is the transition point now where I'm still in the stock market as a broker. But then I'm seeing, when you give away drugs for free, you attract a lot of friends, and then I'm seeing the business potential of it. The local dealers could only supply, up to 100 pills at a time. Found out they were getting them out of LA, so I thought, as an experiment, I'll buy 1,000 pills, see how long it takes to get rid of these. They were gone in a weekend. Yeah.
1,000 in a weekend?
Yeah.
So what were you buying them at LA for?
All right, so this was before I really knew the full knowledge. So in LA, in the beginning, my first transaction was probably, around $12 for 1,000 pills. And they were going for $25 to $30 in the clubs.
So you're 2Xing them immediately?
Yeah.
So now were you selling it yourself? Were you moving the thou yourself, or were you having other guys where you sell at 16, I make the 4 on it? I'm talking right off the bat, not once it became a business.
Right off the bat, I've got my business partner, bodyguard with me, Wildman, this huge guy from my hometown. He's like my muscle. And we're in an apartment he's moved into with some other people. And we throw in these parties every weekend, and that was when we brought those 1,000 pills back, and we just sold them all out through that party.
So you and another person sold 1,000 and...
Yeah, people would come in and they'd buy like 50 or 100 at a time, and they'd just take them off to another party. Yeah, and they just went throughout the weekend.
So 12, 25 to 30. You buy it for 12, you sell it for 25 to 30. So what did that weekend do to you?
Well, not all of them, I would say, went 25 to 30. If someone buys 100, I'm giving them a deal.
Sure, of course.
But I'm seeing this fast, almost doubling of my money, and I'm thinking, I can just be doing this, kicking back, having the time of my life, just hanging out with wild and crazy night people, or working all these long hours, and I sacrificed my slow and steady progress.
How quickly was your transition away from production? Was it immediate? You were like, I can't even be seeing myself doing it. Was it like a 3 to 6 month process?
I was having so much fun, and then going in the office so burnt out because of all of the drugs I was doing. I was doing up to 20 hits of ecstasy on the weekend and throwing other drugs in the mix. Even taking the Xanax didn't recover me properly. I was getting so burnt out because of all the pills and the long hours. I needed to sleep after the partying. The transition was quite fast.
So what's fast? 1 week, 2 weeks, a month? Was it?
I think Wildman, before he got deported and banned for being a menace to society, was in the country for a couple of months. And it was during his visit was my transition, a couple of months.
Couple of months, got it. So you leave the BD, you're not doing anything anymore. What are they saying? What are they thinking about you being gone? Do they know what you're doing or not yet? I'm sure some of the guys were partying with you, so.
It was such a big deal for me to go from one to the other. I didn't even tell them. And my parents actually called the brokerage and asked where I was. And they said they'd heard my car was found burnt out in Mexico, caused this panic amongst my family. From being this legitimate person to going into this criminal underworld, I didn't know how to, what to say to the BD people, so I just ceased communication. Yeah.
Were there any signs in high school of you doing creative activities where somebody would say, I think one day he's probably going to be doing something like you were doing?
During lunch hour, I would run to the corner shop, buy sweets like pear drops and strawberry bonbons, and run back to the school and sell them for double the price. And I'd also get like dinner coupons for them as well, and get my dinner with the dinner coupons.
So sales, you've been selling for a while.
I've always had a natural sales personality, yeah.
Got it. Even in high school. So you're
even in high school, I was an entrepreneur, budding entrepreneur, yeah.
So wholesale to retail.